But for now, Rudy Giuliani joins us once again. Mr. Mayor, great to have you back on Newsmax. How are you tonight?
Excuse me, it's not Mr. Mayor. It's Mr. Former District Attorney. That's how we're going to refer to him as he gets in criminal trouble.
Right, sir.
I'm okay, Craig. How are you?
That's not going to last, Rudy.
I'm good. A couple of things. We have gone through the New York Post. We've seen that, but I want to get you first. I heard a little bit of your radio show, and there's some rumblings that Hunter Biden at one point, and I'm hearing that the Senate might be on to this.
No. If they had any opportunity, but while they still had control to go after Hunter Biden, they would have. But what information they got from Rudy Giuliani was such shit, it didn't warrant it. And even if they wanted it to warrant it, the fact that he had been fondling it for 2 years had literally ruined the chain of evidence.
Something like $800 million may have gone through Hunter Biden's Morgan Stanley brokerage account. What can you tell us about that, please?
$800 million through Morgan Stanley.
Actually, Greg, I'm not as familiar with that as the Senate committee is.
You mean because it's bullshit and it's just a made-up number, and Greg Kelly thinks 800,000 is 800 million?
I know the rumors. I've talked to two of the lawyers involved. So here's what I know.
Okay, let's. The important thing is to talk about rumors. And apparently a high-end hotel that was used as a set in Pretty Woman.
I know that there's a Morgan Stanley account, allegedly.
Yeah, we've heard that. We all know that now from the allegations that Greg Kelly just put forward. Christ.
Involving at least Hunter, his partner, Devin Archer.
Oh, can I turn up the interview? Yes. Or the audio on that? I'll see. Hold on. Yeah, that's as loud as they get. Sorry. Let me see if I can.
Been convicted of federal crimes. And possibly Chris Hines, the stepson of former Secretary of State John Kerry. And there's an arrangement to launder, I can't say 800 million, but a huge amount of money for which they were paid a couple of $1 million up front. That's all I know. I don't know if it's true or not. I can find a few things on the hard drive that corroborate that, but I can't find like a memo yet. But I have to emphasize, I've only been through half of this hard drive.
Let me ask you about that.
How the hell? He's had this for 2 goddamn years. Hold on. And I'm going to try and add a little gain to this. See if that does it. I don't want to drive it crazy, but bring this up a touch. And then I can bring my mic down a touch, and then I can bring up the interview a little bit.
Rudy,
this is voluminous. And it already reveals about 5 major federal crimes and about $30 to $40 million that went to the Biden family as bribes to Vice President Biden.
All right.
It by no means does any of that. Seriously. It doesn't even come close to suggesting that bullshit. What he means is he took whatever Hunter Biden made, and took that thing like, yeah, you have to give dad half your money comment from when Hunter was on drugs and his parents were keeping his money for him so that he wouldn't spend it all and die of a drug overdose. And he's just halving that money and going, that went to the big guy.
All right.
Described by his son in the following language. I'll read it to you.
It's the same shit. It's the same stuff he was reading all last summer.
I don't receive any respect, and that's fine, I guess.
You have to give 50% of your money to dad and
works for you, apparently. I hope all of you can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard. But don't worry. Unlike
what? Again, I know I've said this before, but the allegation that Rudy Giuliani puts forth about Hunter Biden is that he was a bag man for the Biden crime family, right? We've heard this. We've heard him say this dozens of times, that Hunter Biden is being used by his criminal father as a bag man for the Biden criminal family. This is the Biden crime family, the worst crime family in the world. Forget the Gaudis, forget the triad, forget, Afghan Poppy Growers Association of whatever of Kabul, and forget the cartels and MS-13. The worst crime family in the world is Joe Biden, because according to Rudy Giuliani, his son is a bag man running all over the world, is drug-addled, can't think for himself. His father's got dementia, can't finish a sentence. But between a crack addict and a person who's got dementia, they managed to create the greatest crime syndicate in the world. And what blows back on it, and I guess this is what happens when you hire your crack addict son, is that the bagman kid, who's not responsible for any of the wins, who hasn't actually done any of these deals wouldn't exist unless his dad used his drug addict son to make these deals happen, is bitching that he's having to give half his money to the family for 30 years because he's paying for shit. Because he's rich.
Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. So basically,
you're reading the same quote from the same fake texts bullshit that you've had for months and months and months, and that's the giveaway? What bagman bitches to the Godfather? Where is that gangster movie? What member of the triad whose entire job is to show up, smoke a cigarette, pick up a bag full of drug money, and bring it back to the boss, bitches that, hey, half of that is mine? What? It sounds like a rich kid whose parents are in public service and don't make anywhere near the money he does, cascading all over the world, having drug parties and getting laid and driving fancy cars and hanging out with billionaires and creating deals, is bitching that he's got to put his cousins through school.
Biden was using his son in a horrible way as a bagman.
Again, based on what? As a bagman.
You would think he would get some kind of a political flunky to be his bagman, but instead, as his bagman, he used his son, who's afflicted with drug addiction, and over the
right. I mean, where in the shit? How does this make any sense? Yeah, what does this have to do with adrenochrome? Yeah, look at him taking him to games and trying to get his son off drugs and straightened up.
Over the period of years, he made the drug addiction much, much worse by having his son involved with some of the most crooked people in the world.
So, Mr. Mayor, a couple of things. Number one, the documents, the one that you just summarized, I read that in the paper. I also saw the email between Vadim Pazarsky and Hunter. Very interesting. Let me ask you this, though. Can we see the metadata, or are you just going to send us photocopies of bullshit again? Are there any documents, and I know there's a lot of things that you say document Hunter Biden's unusual sexual activities, but are there...
Yeah,
Wait a minute. Sorry. Threesomes are not unusual. Sorry, TMI.
Any documents, any more documents...
I like wood.
What?
That tie Vice President Biden to Burisma.
I'm loud? Oh, I'm sorry. I will. How about I bring mine down? Does that bring the...
Or to money from
Burisma.
Hunter Biden. I mean, let's face it, it's Biden, the father, who's on the ballot in 2 weeks. Anything else other than what we've seen so far tying him to Hunter's business?
No. And if it is, here's the magic part. This is beyond like whether or not, I mean, you guys obviously know that I think this is an entire fabrication where they take real emails, real shit when they hacked into things, and they mix it with what they think will be incriminating, and then they copy the hard drive and they sell it on the open market to try and screw with the American election and try to recreate the Hillary Clinton email scandal of last time because it worked and they're unoriginal and everything's a fucking reboot. You guys know I feel that way. But right-wingers, maggots, Trumpsters, you have to understand that what actually is going on here beyond all that stuff, doesn't matter what I believe, The law enforcement personnel that would want to use this hard drive or any evidence that they're talking about to like corner Biden and arrest Hunter and throw him in Gitmo and whatever the fuck, that whole case would never see the light of day in a courtroom because of the mishandling of shit by this flunky, by this dipshit. Honestly, that Rudy Giuliani's ego and his ridiculousness. And by the way, part of it is because he knows it's fabricated and he knows it's bullshit and he's selling something and he's making this all up. And so he knows he can only give out certain parts of it, because if he gives out the whole thing, they know he might believe in his head that it's real, but he also knows where he got the stuff from. And so he knows it's not a trustworthy source. And if you drill down far enough, he's fucked. So he knows this. He knows this. So, but his way of covering it is licking the gun. It was smoking when I found it, and it was completely, I took the bullets out and licked them, and so my DNA is all over it, but it really is the gun. It really is the murder weapon, and he really shot them. Understand how dumb this is. Who here doesn't know how to commit a decent crime? Have you not watched enough A&E in your life? At least you can, tourniquet off some of the dumber parts of it, right?
Two major things that I found. In addition to this, which basically says that Biden was getting 50% of the...
Yeah, you read that. We saw it again. That's not anything. You're not showing us something from a hard drive. You're showing us a paper with print on it. Pardon me for getting all Marcus Aurelius on you, but you're saying it's evidence. Treat it like fucking evidence. Post it. Post the metadata. Post the entire contents of the hard drive, you moron. If the people who ripped off Parler can take 7 terabytes of information and post it online so that you can literally see where and when all the pictures people took on and that they posted on Parler were taken and when they were taken, if they can do that, why the fuck can't Rudy Giuliani put a forensic copy by a corporation that does that kind of thing on his hard drive with a searchable index? Why? Why? Because it's fake, that's why.
The bribe money, which makes sense, actually.
No, it doesn't. It's made up.
There's a
How do you think Rudy disposed of all the incriminating evidence? No. That's why he's not showing the hard drive. That's why he's not releasing the hard drive. Because there's metadata in a computer. When you go into a computer, Rudy doesn't understand this shit, and the people around him are too egotistical or stupid or don't care or aren't as invested in him to do the actual work. And the Russians who put it together might have done a fairly decent job covering their tracks. But if you go through and you dig up on a hard drive, you can, unless you do a military wipe of a hard drive, you can tell everything that was on it at one point. You can know what files were overwritten. The DOD, the FBI, the CIA, they have tons of that shit. You know why? Because they bust child pornographers all the time. They bust human traffickers and drug traffickers all the time. And they seize their electronic documents, and those assholes think they can run a magnet over the thing or do hit a race while the cops are kicking down the door, and that'll get rid of it. And it doesn't. It does not. I don't know why. Look, you don't have to be named after a computer to understand this shit. Rudy is talking out of his ass. And if he posted this hard drive, it would release all the metadata with it, and everybody would look at it just like Trump. Same reason he'll put out Trump's taxes. Well, he'll put out, this is how much money I made, this is how much money I have. But if he puts out his tax, you go, oh, you made that money because you stole it from a charity that you were diverting through an LLC that you have in the fucking Caymans.
Well, this is really a very, very sensitive one. There's a text message to his father in which he says the following.
An alleged text message to his father that's allegedly from Hunter Biden to an alleged father. At this point, I'm not believing anything.
And he's discussing his sister-in-law, who for quite some time was his lover.
And Seriously, you married your cousin, you cretin.
And
these are, can we, his brother died. His brother's widow, they were both nearly equally close emotionally to the person who passed away. They had an affair, and they were both broken during that time. Can we not pretend that this isn't a subplot on This Is Us or some shit, and everybody would go, oh, I feel for them. Like, we're supposed to hate these two people for this? I don't get it. But tell me who Moisha is. Hey, Moisha baby, can't wait to see you again. Who is that, Rudy, that you were talking about with Igor and Lev? Who is that? Was she of age? Was she a Russian or Ukrainian prostitute you can't wait to see again? Who was she? Yeah, creep.
And he said,
Don't shame adults for consensual relationships.
She told my therapist that I was sexually inappropriate. This would be with a unnamed 14-year-old girl.
She told my therapist I was sexually inappropriate with blank when she says to her that I FaceTime naked with her, and the reason I can't have her out to see me anymore is because I walk around naked smoking crack, talking to girls on FaceTime. When she pressed, she said that she'd never said anything like that, but the bottom line is I created and caused a very unfortunate, unsafe environment for the kids. If it stopped there, I would let it go, but then blank friend, blank sober coach. No, blank stayed with friend, taking her CCD mess, blah, running. This is not, what? This is so-and-so, right? This is, what's her name, right? Okay. When she was pressed, she said that that so-and-so never said anything like that, but the bottom line is I created, caused a very, like... Again, I don't even trust that this is real, but even in the context of what they're showing, it's a he said, she said, where she said she didn't say what he said she said. I'm going to pass out.
When she says that I FaceTime naked with the unnamed 14-year-old girl, and the reason I can't have her out to see me is because I'll walk around naked smoking crack, talking tom girls on FaceTime.
Okay. Read the rest of it, Rudy.
When she was pressed, she said that the unnamed 14-year-old girl never said anything like that, but the bottom line is that I created and caused a very unsafe environment for the kids.
Right. He's accusing her of lying. If it stopped there, I would let it go, but then blank friend, blank sober coach. She was lying about me in this situation. She was saying I was worse than I am. This is a complaint. This is an argument between people. And again, how much of this is real and how much of this is inserted? How much of it is genuine? How much of it are the top 5 messages real and the middle's fake? Thanks to Rudy Giuliani's fondling of evidence, no one will ever know.
This is supported by numerous pictures of underage girls.
Okay. Keep that in mind. Numerous pictures of underage girls. Just remember him saying that.
So, Mr. Mayor, that is, look.
He's only gotten through half this hard drive, but he sure as shit got through naked pictures.
That's dynamite stuff.
It's dynamite, kid. I love where you're going with this whole thing, the whole underage girls thing. Dynamite stuff, it's fucking disgusting. Your reaction should be, if you think this is true, would be horror. But do you notice what he just said there? Dynamite stuff. Oh, this is going to be great. Who celebrates the idea that they're talking about? I'll tell you who. People who know it's bullshit and people who think it will take down their political enemies. This is a commiseration.
And I've seen it.
I turned it over to the
You turned it over to the Delaware State Police, correct?
Yes, yesterday. Bernie Kerrick and I turned it over to the Delaware State Police.
Right.
No. You turned over things you had printed out to them. Because I remember we did this. We did this whole episode where he was talking about when they went down there. I saw something that was so horrible. I have to take it down there. And we're like, oh, well, he's going to take down the hard drive. And there's going to be like photos of him going, here I am. I've got the laptop. I'm handing it over to the Delaware State Police. And they're going to look at it because we think it happened in this jurisdiction. Matt Gaetz who? And did we? No. You know why? Because he didn't turn over the hard drive to the Delaware State Police. He printed shit out and said it was from the hard drive and dropped it off. There was a news report about it. We watched him talk about it. There's no footage of him going down there. There's no FaceTime video. Here we are today. He films everything else.
Because we're very uncomfortable with this. So we're very uncomfortable with the fact that these underage girls were not protected.
Alleged underage girls. Have we figured out who and if they are? Believe me, if there are underage girls in danger, we should protect them. We can hide their names and their identity because they are minor children and arrest the perpetrators. But you know what doesn't help? Is, I saw my neighbor having sex with a girl who was underage, so I took pictures of him and I brought in the pictures. Wait a minute, you were taking pictures of your neighbor having sex? Yeah, he was having sex with an underage girl. Who? This woman right here. That's his wife. You were taking pictures of your neighbor having sex with his wife? And you brought those pictures to us?
So here's the deal. Hunter Biden, let's face it, he's never going to be elected to anything.
Why? If we use the Trump model, he could probably run for the Republican presidency next time.
And he'll...
No, he couldn't, because it would have all this shit that Giuliani's saying would have to be true. If it was true, if what Rudy Giuliani was saying was true, I think Hunter has a real chance at running in 2024 for the Republican ticket.
He'll probably wind up in jail someday for something. Who knows?
I know. I'm gonna guess he might have to pay a fine for taxes at some point because there was so much money going through his coffers. He's not going to jail. He didn't do anything. Rudy made that shit up. There was never any follow-up. Do you remember that, guys? Remember the whole big shit? Like, we went through this back in fucking September. I did all of these shows leading up to him going, we're going to take this in there because this is horrible. And they took it to him, and the Delaware Police Department, State Police Department, and the FBI had looked at the shit Giuliani had given him and went, the fuck is this? This is bullshit. First of all, you can't print out pictures and say this is evidence. You know what this is evidence of? Rudy Giuliani, if you bring in printed out pictures of underage girls, you know what this means? This means you are trafficking child porn. You are walking around with naked pictures of underage girls. Give us the hard drive, the original, not a copy of a copy, so we can have our forensics people look at it, and we're not giving it back to you. Are you out of your fucking mind? If you find a gun after a murder, you don't get to say finders keepers while we're working on the investigation. How dumb is this asshole?
But I'm more concerned about the vice president because he's the one who's running. Right, I see that. But you know what?
No, you don't. You don't see shit, dummy. You see a printout. Honest to God, if I drew a stick figure of Trump having sex with a cow and held it up and went, this was on Trump's hard drive. This is a doodle in a file I found that's called What I'd Like to Do in My Spare Time. It truly shows Trump is a cow fucker. I mean, I'm holding it up on camera after it's been printed out. I mean, what more evidence do you need? God, my God.
You know what I don't see, Mr.
This was sent to the vice president.
Here's the deal. And look.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Even by your estimation, Rudy, that was not sent to the vice president. That's supposedly a conversation between Hunter and his niece.
I want to be clear here.
Sounds like him.
Yeah, but you know what is not
was
there?
Sent to him. What did he do about it?
Exactly.
What did he do about it?
Well,
He helped his son through rehab and healed him through love, and now he's a functional human being. Do we do Billy Carter next?
3 years.
Mr. Mayor, the
put
only
his
thing
son-
is,
Trump's hot beef injections. It's a business model. I'm going into business with the Goya people.
in that,
beans
hold on
and
a second,
cows.
in the text messaging you just showed me, and we went
It's not text messaging. In the Photoshop picture you just held up on camera. Prove me wrong.
through, we've got
I'm not buying into any of this bullshit just because they expect me to. Seriously.
Jr., who is Joe Biden, talking to Hunter Biden. We have no acknowledgement in what we just saw from the vice president. We don't.
No, beyond that, you don't even know what he held up is genuine. Let's start at reality. Rudy Giuliani is holding up a printed document of text messages that he alleged text messages from an alleged hard drive that he allegedly got from a repair dealer after having another story where the hard drive had actually was in a laptop that was left at a shrink's house that Hunter went to that worked for Fox, and that guy lost his job because he was drugging and fucking his clients. He lost his license. That's the original story of where the laptop came from. Go dig around in that one for a while. The original story, the backstory of this nonsense. And then tell me that this asshole who had his office raided today by the FBI, and they would have done it last year, except Trump was running interference for him. They seized all of his electronic devices because he was working with Ukraine to dig up information on Biden, didn't find any, so decided to buy some manufactured evidence, which is a crime, and use it to manipulate the election and apparently tried to, in the process, I guess, manipulate the DOJ through Donald Trump to protect himself from it while he was doing it.
We don't know what he knows or whatever, and this is all family drama. And
No, it isn't. It's not family drama. It's drama between Greg Kelly and Rudy Giuliani.
by the way, it's so late. It's big time. They could be in trouble.
Why? They're not the one who's walking around with pictures of underage girls. Rudy Giuliani is. I don't know how much clearer this can be. And folks, if at some point you ever find yourself in a situation where things are on your hard drive that people allege, they find files on your hard drive, tax documents, child pornography, the murder, shots of a murder that were only could have been taken by the murderer, and you didn't have anything to do with that. And understand that you're innocent. Here's what you do. Don't touch your computer. Hand it over to the authorities. Get a lawyer and then tell your lawyer to request an independent forensic audit of the computer, to have an independent forensic audit of the internet in your home, and anywhere you might have been. If you left it at a Delaware repair shop, or somebody picked it up and handed it to a lawyer that handed it to their friend who was a lawyer, and that person kept it at their house for 2 years, sleeping with it under their pillow, and then magically pictures of the murder showed up, that might come into be introduced in the chain of evidence in trial. Good God.
And I'm glad you got it out there, but I want to know, is there anything concrete tying Joe Biden to Burisma money from China? It does not look good at all to me, those emails and what they were up to. Anything in that regard. And if you haven't found it yet, you're kind of saying it might still be there, because how much of this hard drive have you been through?
I found it already. You found it. There's a memo in here that says that 10% of the money that was being whacked up, that was $10 million a year, and then 50% of the profits with 3 Chinese communists, one of whom was a Chinese intelligence operative, that 10% of that was going to H for the big guy. So
Hunter is H, I guess? So he gets his own money, and then he's going to give money to Biden. 10% of the profits from $10 million. or not even the profits. It would be bonuses if we look at the deal that they presented as being real. Their company makes $10 million a year. They get that $10 million, I guess, to invest in stuff. They get to keep 50% of the profits on that $10 million. By the way, this is a company that apparently is doing $1.5 billion deals, according to this idea. But they get to keep 50%, 10% of 50% goes to Joe Biden. There is no chain of evidence, financially or otherwise, in Joe's taxes or in the property ownership, the deeds he has, the leases, where he spends his time. There's no Epstein Island that he has. He has no Cayman bank account. He doesn't have a boat. They've got 2 houses. All of his money came from his book and being vice president. Like, he only became wealthy after he was vice president from speeches and writing books. This is so weird.
So we've identified the big.
It's illegal in America not to report and turn over any evidence regarding pertaining to sexual assault. The end. Excellent point, V. Gabriel. Rudy Giuliani is not turning over evidence that he alleges is sexual assault. Yikes.
Guy. Several ways. One, right after that text message, email rather, there's an email that is asking for keys for the office they're going to share with the Chinese communists. And the first key they asked for is for Joe Biden, the big guy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They have office spaces, and they were giving some of the office space to them to run their charity out of. That's another that 50% he's got to give to his dad. He's always got to give him a free office to run their charity out of.
Number 2, there's an anonymous source.
Oh, okay. What did Trump say about anonymous sources, Rudy? What did he tell us?
Has told Fox News that the big.
Okay, I take it back. If it was an anonymous source that told Fox News something, then it's got to be legit.
Guy is definitively Joe Biden. He's one of the people involved in the deal. I know.
An anonymous source told us definitively that Joe Biden is exactly who Fox News says he is.
His name, I'm not at liberty to tell you.
Okay, so, all right. Well, then, pardon me while I take that with a grain of salt while you continue to bullshit all of us.
But I'm told that within a day or 2, he's going to go public.
I can't wait to hear the information when it's ready to go public. Mr. Mayor, a couple of quick things. You're getting me in deep shit right here. Can you please not bring up anything regarding... hold on, I've got to open up my chat because my other window shut down, so I want to make sure that I can see you guys. Mr. Mayor, can you please not get me into more legal problem in this crap? Hold on. I got to shrink this down. The other screen makes it very small. Hold on. I need to be able to see you guys because I want to say hi. There we go. Ta-da. All right, now I can. So what Rudy was picked for, it's for this specific scandal, right? And then the second wave, the SDNY stuff. Yeah. Yes. Rudy Giuliani's office was raided because of this bullshit. I mean, I hope it's because he's trying to manipulate our democracy and screw with our elections, and he was, participating in a Russian plan through Ukraine, and they figured all this stuff out. It could simply be that his office was raided because he's showing up with pictures of underage girls and says, I have the hard drive with this on it, and I keep it under my pillow, and I'm not going to give it to you. And that should get you arrested. I don't know if we have any cops watching. If we are, thank you for your service first. But on top of that, what would be the procedure if someone walked in with child porn and said, I found this on a laptop. Here's some pictures I printed out. Whoever owns this laptop seems really scary. Where's the laptop? I'm keeping it. What would be the process for that person if they refuse to turn over a laptop full of underage girls nude? I'm guessing it wouldn't be good. Honest to fucking God, this creep.